Hello and welcome back to our beautiful island of Elba, where we are participating in the community build-off. By the time this video comes out, I'm pretty sure the build-off challenge has concluded. I don't know if the results will be in yet, but who knows. Overall, I'm pretty happy so far, but as you can see, based on our current money situation, we're drastically losing money, and this is why this time around we started the game on pause. We need to solve this problem and we need to solve it quickly, and that is the main purpose of this episode. Now, in the game, just like in life, there are two ways how you can deal with a financial situation like this. You can either reduce your expenditure, which I really don't want to do anymore. We could just reduce some of our services. But ultimately, the better, more sustainable way is actually to just push forward. So we need more paying areas. And, areas. We need more paying things. That could be housing, like residential housing. That could be commercial or industry or offices. So one of the reasons why we're in this overview, it tells us exactly what our offices, commercial and industry, what they do not like about our city. And they all agree taxes are horrible. So we do have still some commercial demand, so we're not gonna touch that, but I think it is time for us to reduce our taxes on our industry, even though that seems counterintuitive. But as you also have seen, I've kind of clicked away from this, one of the negative things for our residential area is the availability of jobs. So this way we're going to tackle two things at once. And where better to try to place new industry than in our new industry area that we had created, not the last episode, but the one before, which will ultimately build into a cargo harbor that will be just on this side of the island. All right, first thing that we need to tackle, unfortunately, is go into taxation and actually reduce the taxes by as much as we can. I'm gonna leave the commercial up because, again, we still have some commercial demand, so they don't seem to mind that much. And this one we can actually reduce. It's not that much of a loss. Now, it will still impact us, but the industry meter should go up pretty fast. Obviously, it's a bit iffy. So let's actually go ahead and already place some low density commercial into this corner. And the way I'm thinking of this could be a small convenience stores or supermarkets. Well, they're basically the same thing, or restaurants that will actually supply this area for us moving forward. So let's go back in here. What is the problem? There is actually no problem for our industry. So somewhere, I'm pretty sure industry is zoning in. However, we are bleeding money and we are bleeding it fast. So, but here we go. See, reduce the taxes and all of a sudden we've got some industry demand again. So let's go ahead and plaster these areas right away. And this will be the beginning of our new industrial expansion. This will already help, and look at this. Actually, the amount of money we're bleeding has gone down drastically. So overall, we're in a much, much better situation. I'm gonna use that central area, the larger blocks, to basically put in industry, and we're gonna put a few offices in the back here as soon as the demand is coming back up. Now bleeding money again. So this will go back and forth a little bit for a while. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's not like we're gonna solve this basically overnight. Although technically the night has ended, and look at that, we're already back in the plus. Now this has been going up and down in the last episode as well, but overall, let's actually push this so far up that even when it goes down, it actually stays in the green and we will make a little bit more money. All right. 600 something Madison Street, that is in here. They're looking for people to work. And look at that. All of a sudden, our residential is so much happier. We still have more commercial demand, so let me actually start putting a few more in. And I am actually removing this street right here. I don't think we need... Actually, we can just leave it in. And just gonna fill up the rest of these as well. For now, I'm not gonna expand further out, but overall, I think this will do. So with this, as you can see, they are filling in happily, excitedly, and we still have more demand. So let's go ahead and zone more of that in. With that, look at that, almost 7,000 per hour. We've turned things around. Now, there will be still growing demand, but let's leave this behind. Because, oh, quick pause again. What I hadn't noticed, we're actually out of power. I think it is okay for us to continue with our wind power expansion up here. We could place you over here. This is 5 megawatts. It's along of this road, which honestly is just kind of perfect. So let's go ahead and make a little pad just up here where this can actually be placed. All right, just one more and we have solved our crisis issue. Now we will need to expand this in the long run. Maybe a battery extension wouldn't be a bad call, but for now I think we're overall doing okay. There is also, as you can see, a little bit of an issue in terms of our hospital supply. Now, it doesn't seem to be a ton of patients in here, but all of our ambulances are actually out and about. So I think this is something we will need to focus on, but I want to focus on this the next time. Let's look at what our offices actually would want to move back in. Nothing. They are just happy. All right. Let's actually go ahead instead and call a little mulligan of our office area right there. I think this is a much better area for some row housing that we can place over here and just start to fill in. This way we have a little bit of a density gradient going on in this direction, which I think overall will look very nice. And hopefully our office demand will grow again once we have kicked all of them out. But imagine you're in one of these and then you just go outside of your house and you see that little vineyard that we have placed. I think putting more density housing over here will also help with our vineyard customer issue, but we'll see about that for now. Right, there seems to be a bit of traffic issue, so let's go ahead and have a look around what's going on. So they're kind of held up over here. Not entirely sure why. They seem to need like an extra lane in order to have like a designated turn lane. And you know what? They might need the same thing. So let's go into here, look into our asymmetric roads. Not the 4-lane, but the 5-lane asymmetric road. And just upgrade this, giving our people a designated turn lane, as well as in the other direction, in the hope that this will ultimately help deal with some of the traffic over this way. All right. So putting that aside, let's go back into our industry area and start expanding this a little bit. Like I mentioned before, we want to put down a cargo harbor, and not anytime soon because we don't have the money for it. But the cargo harbor is actually pretty deep. So that means we need to fill more of this area up with some more soil. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. All right, we have figured out how deep we need to go. So I am gonna just mellow this out, dig a little bit of more of a trench so our boats can easily come in here. And we don't need to worry about them, you know, crashing or getting stranded on the sand. Just like that. And I think that looks pretty decent. In the meantime, we actually have gotten finally some office demand. So let's place down our offices up here. And yes, I'm gonna fill them all in already, kind of totally quenching our demand. And I think it is also time that we're removing this middle street and put a little bit more of industry zoning over here. And we're also going to place this on both sides of that street. As again, just trying to maximize a little bit of what we're doing with our industry area back here. All right. In addition, we can actually expand this part here out here as well. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. So let's go ahead, put a little bit more of a road network in. And yes, we're putting it very close to the edge. And that will allow us to put a bit more industry in these corners, which I think will be overall pretty good. So trying to get some storage facilities in here. And without exactly remembering what the warehouses, how deep they need to be, we're gonna try them to be a couple of units deep. And actually, let's just check it out. All right. With that, we have multiple. I do vaguely remember they need to be 2 wide. So let's see which one of these will actually turn into a warehouse that we can work with. All right, we're again out of power. Let's put in the advanced rotor system in this one. It does not quite solve our problem, but we also made a good amount of money, which will allow us to expand our power supply. In the meantime, I'm going to pause this. Gonna just expand this part out here a little bit. And I'm hoping that this will be kind of, I think I need to turn snapping off. It is still snapping. Oh, I turned it back on. That explains it. Right, a little bit further. Here we go. And the next thing we're just gonna do is make sure this is properly connected into our electricity network underground. All right, here we go. With that, we have solved some of our power issues, but I'm sure they will come back, so we will need to figure something out in the long run. In the meantime, some warehouses have actually spawned in. There's just some company in there. I think I might want... Actually, this doesn't look too bad either. Let's see what these 2 smaller ones turn into. And then we're just going to place a little bit more of the zoning in here. Alright, I do not like you two. So pause, delete both of you, go into our zoning and make sure they have the same depth. Now I'm gonna zone in the rest of this. Actually, I'm gonna zone it in a little bit more specific, making it smaller. And I'll be right back. Alright, that has used up basically all of our industry demand. I don't know if I want to have... Actually, I do have some industry facing this road on the other side. So let's just continue this in that case. Leave a little bit of a gap. Actually, let's move this over 1. And leave a little bit of a gap over here to not make it too crowded. All right. With that, that is looking pretty good, I would say. There is, again, more traffic. It's coming into the city. What is causing an issue? And I am wondering if we should actually not have this as a roundabout. Actually, a lot of pedestrians. So what might make more sense is to remove those crossings all around, put one in on this side so they can cross over here. And they can actually go to the other side over this way. And then there is actually a crossing over here, and that is signalized, which is a lot safer than doing this along the roundabout. Right, I think overall that's not too bad. Still traffic, but we will need to deal with that another time. Let's look at our economy, and we have a $20,000 per hour plus, which is very exciting, which also means we can start paying back some more of our loans. I am going to pause again. We have again a power issue. And again, that kind of makes me wonder if it is time to remove the power plants. Well, maybe not remove, but replace the wind power for something more reliable. Not quite there yet. Instead, we're going to flatten out the area up here and place a few more wind turbines down. Alright, I quickly went ahead and leveled some of this area out, which will give us a good spot for a few more of the wind turbines, and I've increased the budget for electricity production, which should help us overall until we have the power issue just sorted out. I am placing this one kind of as far away as I can in the hope that I can get one over here and another one. Actually, I can get one over here. Let's start with this one. One of the reasons why I created a bit more of a road network up here is because the spots up here are actually perfect for a internet expansion. And I'm not talking about the radio mast. I think a telecom tower would be perfect up here. Now, the telecom tower we need to unlock, and that will be the next thing we're going to plan for, because I would love for our citizens to have some reliable internet service, and this spot right there should actually cover the majority of our island. Now, we do, however, look at that. It's beautiful. We're covering pretty much everything, including the area back here. So this will definitely help us. Oh, let's actually double check. We would place it somewhere over here, I think. Maybe optimize it a little bit. Maybe just there. And again, it would definitely help us supplying internet to all of our citizens. So since we have already figured out where it needs to go, I'm just gonna flatten out a little plateau over here so we know exactly where we need to go. All right, it is in. And with that, our demand for industry and everything is still rising, which, you know, is very exciting to see because it means our economy is growing. Gonna put a few more of the buildings down, of the industry buildings, trying to keep them as warehouses where possible. Because over here, especially when we're starting to put in our cargo harbor, I think that will just look perfect. Also want to go ahead actually, while we're at it, and for no particular reason, except for the fact that I think it will look very nice, put a little intermediate area right there. We're just going to make this look a little bit nicer. So I'm gonna give this a try, and when I am done, I will be right back. All right, a little bit of decoration done, and that took quite a while, but I think it was worth it. I think this looks overall pretty good. So now it is time to actually put down our cargo harbor. Actually, before I do that, let's have a look into our connection over here. We could actually bring this connection in from this side, move it over, but I think buying this tile might make more sense. Now let's have a look. How much is this tile? 127,000. Upkeep is 0. Okay, we'll take that. 127,000, not a problem, and we still have enough money to put down our cargo harbor. Tight against the street that we just built, we could even consider moving this in a little bit so they don't offload directly onto Madison Street. And kind of like that, to be honest. What if we don't snap it towards the road? How far back? Actually, it's the wrong way around, mate. So let's go in here and put in a road from here, actually, to there. And then we're just going to connect that back up into here. Just a little side street, so to speak, that should allow us to place our cargo harbor at. Let's turn snapping back on. It is in water, it is a harbor, so what are you expecting? But that just means I need to extend this out a little bit after all. But overall, I think it makes sense, so let's do it. Alright, overall I think that will do. So let's place our cargo harbor. We do need to extend this road out a little bit, but honestly, I don't mind. We could even just... Actually, let's do that. Let's put that in here. Leave this part out. That gives us a little bit of space that we should be able to fill up with interesting stuff. But before we do that, let's make sure it works. Cargo shipping route. Oh, first need to make that connection. Oh my. I think it is time we're also buying this part. It does cost $192. Because of this, we actually won't be able to make that connection. Is that right? Let's see. Can we go over this way? Oh, we can go over this way. So what's the problem with this one then? Alright, I think the problem is this specific corner. I wonder if this is a one-way route? Because they can't seem to get back over this way. Interesting. I'm sure we'll be able to fix that. Regardless, we do have one ship already coming in. Our cargo harbor is starting to store stuff, so I am very excited about that. Let's go ahead and do something with this area right here. And then we're gonna take some inventory. All right, just a little bit more decoration here, and we also put in a good amount of parking, which I think will be quite useful for the workers at the dock, which is 75 right now. So I just also noticed I accidentally made these, I think, small trees. I think so. Let's go ahead and quickly replace that with something before we're gonna replace them again with the tree that we've been using throughout the build so far. Huh. I guess they are just smaller. You know what? Maybe I'll leave the bit taller ones in here, because I quite like the way this looks. All right. Very important, because this will also give the car some shade and hopefully prevent our people from overheating. Let's have a look at our budget. We're making 26,000 an hour when initially we started with negative 4,000, 3,000, something like this. Our little industry area is coming along very nicely. And we have created a little bit of decoration to hopefully integrate this a little bit better. One thing that I have actually forgotten, and I should place this right now, is a small police department. Although I don't want to just place it. I think we will find a good spot for it, but next time we probably first need to deal with some healthcare issues and other issues in our city. Nonetheless, I think with this, I'm going to end the episode. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you next time.